What's going on, Jermaine Johnson? Tune in to Turn on the Jets podcast.
Hey, this is Vinny Pasquantino of the Kansas City Royals. Make sure you tune into the Turn on the Jets podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Turn the Jets podcast. I'm your host, Will Parkinson, at WillPilot on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. PK joined me. Kyle Brandt will be coming up in a few minutes. Wanted to hop on here. Obviously, as everyone knows by now, Vera-Tucker, torn tricep. The other tricep, not the one he tore a couple years ago. Just going to give our quick reaction here. AVT is going to get a second opinion, likely season ending. You know, maybe there's a sense of hope a second opinion doesn't require surgery, and maybe he's out for half the year, whatever it may be. PK, pretty big gut punch. 2 days, 3 days out from the season opener.
Yeah, season ended today, if you believe Jets Twitter. So it's over. We could pack it up. No reason to play the games. Everything's done. Look, I asked you to come on here. You were going to do this pod today with or without me. I asked you to come on here because I think I'm going to have a different take than a lot of other people. And like, first of all, I want to preface it with sucks for the guy, right? Like he's a cool dude. Like he's really likable. Came out of USC. Like he was never hurt there. There was no indication that this was ever going to happen. He was part of the one of the better trade ups that the Jets have done, I think, like in terms of like the picks they got back for players that really weren't that good. And then they moved them around and they go up to get their guy. Darisaw ended up being really good, which changes the scope of it a little bit. But look, we all really like AVT. We wanted it to work here. I don't think this is that big of a deal. Obviously, it's a hit to the offense. It is. I'm not going to like deny that it's a hit to the offense. We're talking about a player that had a really good rookie year, and then he played, I think, 7 games his second year, 5 games his third year. Came back strong last year, played a full season, and was looking to be in line for a contract extension this offseason, but it really kind of entirely depended on, can you stay healthy? Like, we know you can play, right? Can you stay healthy, or are you going to be hurt 3 out of the 5 years that you've been here? And I think at this point, like, we kind of know, right? And availability is the best ability. It's great when he's on the field, but if you can't count on a guy to be there, then what does it really mean? And I think, something I really haven't heard anybody talk about is, how about the Jets having an actual plan in place, right? And like, they have a center that's good to go and ready, and they have another center who can slide down to guard and play it pretty well. So this is not like, we're not looking to like 2T's Jonathan Harrison to step in and play center here, or like Xavier Newman to like try to learn how to snap a ball on the fly. Like, this isn't what's happening. We have an NFL starting caliber quality center, and we have another younger guy who's a center guard flex who can slide right over. And like, I'm not saying PFF grades are like the end all be all here, but Vera-Tucker posted his highest one last year of 77. Joe Tippmann for his career is ascending, I would say, but he posted a 74 last year. So I'm not sure you're losing a whole lot at center, or at guard rather. And then at center, like, look, Josh Myers is what he is. He's like a mid-60s PFF grade guy. He's in the yellow, which...
He's a NFL starter, but not great at center.
Exactly. He's like in the yellow for PFF, which is like an average guy, right? Like, he's not that good. He's not that bad.
And that's fine.
Yeah. But it's not, again, to go back, like, it's not Jonathan Harrison. It's not Xavier Newman. We're not scratching the bottom of the barrel here for like, who can we slide into this position? There was a plan in place here. Yeah. And so like, does it suck? Yes. Am I sad for the guy? Yes. Do I think it's worth any wins to Vegas? No. I don't think this changes the season outlook like all that much. And I don't think you could go back a week and say this offensive line is really good, but it all depends on AVT staying healthy. Like, I don't know if anybody was saying that the last few weeks. So I feel like the reaction that we've seen on Twitter today is just like a little bit Jetsy, right? Like, let's all like take a deep breath. And I'm not saying I'm not trying to minimize, but like, let's take a deep breath and like, okay, like it could be a lot worse. Everything's okay here. And we can kind of move forward.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a summer of that. I think there's been so much positive energy around the team in terms of lack of drama, lack of distractions, lack of injuries, a lot of these different things that like Justin Fields, who like 60% of the fan base thinks fucking sucks, stubbed his toe. And the entire timeline was like, dude, like cancel 2025. And it's like, most of you guys think he sucks. Yes, does this suck? I feel bad for AVT, the player. I feel bad because his teammates, I've gotten texts from a lot of people that are like, dude, that guy is a tier 1 human, like, going to get paid. And I think from a player's perspective, it's like, shit, like, he was probably going to get $120 million, generational wealth, the whole thing. Like, that part sucks. I think it sucks in terms of you have to go to your depth right away, positional flexibility that AVT could kick anywhere, and he is your highest, probably floor player. So all these things are bad. It's frustrating, and the whole thing. I'll do the glass half full situation that you kind of did of the Jets basically practiced all summer with Joe Tippmann at guard. Asking people around the Jets today, they're like, unfortunately, we kind of prepared that one of Simpson or AVT was going to get hurt. They've prepped that all year. Does it suck that you're playing the Steelers week 1? They have a really good D-line. Yeah. Does it suck AVT, especially in the screen game? You're not going to have him. But like PK, I've been saying for 2 years, Joe Tippmann's better at guard than he is at center because he's 6'5", 320 pounds. Like, that's just the reality. Again, would I prefer that there's someone a little better than Josh Myers at center? Yeah, of course. You'd love to have Tippmann at center and AVT at guard. Do I think this is the last time AVT plays as a Jet? I'm not willing to go that far yet. Glenn called him a foundational piece 2 weeks ago, so I don't think that like he's gone here and there's not a shot that he comes back on a 1 for $15 million deal. They have depth there, and like it's like, hey, prove it to us because he's 25 years old. Like, there's a very real possibility. But do I think that, again, like I went through a lot of the spreads and I did this conversation in the Discord. You know, what would Dak Prescott on the Jets be worth, right? Like, how many wins would it be worth to their over-under for the season? And Dak Prescott was worth a total of 2 wins extra for the Jets this year, right? And like Dak's a solidified top 10 quarterback. AVT is probably worth a quarter of a win. I would say that them getting a better run defense and better special teams is worth more than the difference in what AVT versus Joe Tippmann at guard. Again, like, this isn't ideal, but I think everyone in that locker room is very aware that like John Simpson was hurt during the summer, and one of these two guys wasn't going to be back next year likely anyways. So this maybe just accelerated the process. It's frustrating. It sucks. Dude, Glenn was on a team that watched Vinny hop his Achilles 4 minutes into being the best team in the league. They were Super Bowl favorites, like prohibitively. He watched it in Detroit last year. I don't know. I guess your final thoughts here before we'll bring Kyle in. But yeah, just very frustrating to have this kind of happen the time it did.
Super frustrating. And I think that the point you hit on is the most important point of the day, which is that the depth is now used. So what's the next piece of the plan? Because the first piece of the plan has now been enacted. Whether or not you want to say the Jets are lucky and stupid or super, super smart that they prepped for this is up to you, I guess. But to me, I think it shows that they kind of had a pulse on, you know, the health of the two guards and the history
stupid,
there.
Man, AVT's been hurt every year of his career. They weren't like assuming that he's going to play 17 games and Simpson and Tippmann. Like, that just, teams don't operate like that.
I think the conversation shifts to, is he going to go sign a 1-year deal with Philadelphia, San Francisco, Kansas City for really low value, crush it next year, and then earn his big contract? Or are we going to be, I don't even know if I want to say smart enough, but willing enough to do that here, right? So that's what he's going to have to do now. Does it happen here, or do we have to watch him walk away and play really well somewhere else? That's a conversation for down the road. I think the other piece is like, you look at what's out there now in terms of what I said, the plan after the plan. Nick Gates, who has traditionally not been a very good center, but he's like played in the Giants, played on the Commanders, but he spent his last 2 years of his career with Philly. Maybe that's a guy that you like, hey, he was in that Philly offensive line room. Maybe we look at him. John Feliciano is 1,000 years old, but he's out there. Cody Whitehair, Nick Harris. So what's next? Do they bring anybody in? That's what I'm looking for now.
Make sure you guys catch PK on Jet Heads later this week. PK, we will talk soon. We'll kick it over to Kyle. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Turn the Jets podcast. I'm your host, Will Parkinson, at WillPaul11 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. AVT, we've already talked, is out for the season, or likely out for the season. We're going to try to not talk too much negative. Elijah Vera-Tucker, multiple torn triceps, but I think third or fourth time on the pod, Kyle Brandt, NFL Network, and 800 other things, Rewatchables, place, the whole 9 yards. KB, how we doing?
It's great to see you, my friend. I'm honored to get the invite anytime, but I'm impressed now to still get the invite because you're coming up in the world. You're doing live events where all these Jets Yahoos show up and like scream out your name. You've been married now for quite a while. You're still married, which I respect.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled to be on with you. We have a lot to talk about, dude. And I'm doing it from, I'm going to tell you like a C- hotel room in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, the home of NFL Films, and just not too far away from Lincoln Financial Field. I'm supposed to be like some sort of like NFL media face. Like this thing is like view of the air conditioning units, ice machine outside. You know who I just ran into? I ran across the street. I'm just going to drop a name. I go across the street to get Starbucks, and it's one of these like 50-lane highways. I had to run across the street, and the first person I saw was Maria Taylor from NBC, who's in there, and she's just like getting her coffee. I'd never met her in person before. She's in town to do their shit for NBC, their kickoff, and I'm not going to out her, but like they are not staying at this hotel.
Yeah.
She and Garrett and Sims and McCourty, they are not staying at this hotel. So I ran into her. She was awesome. And here I am back talking to you.
Obviously, we did the whole Jets Rodgers excitement thing, and I think everyone bought in. And,
Yep.
and there was every reason to, especially year one, and then year two was like classic. Like the relationship didn't start great, but like it's all right. Like there was a reason. Like, and everyone went back in. It kind of grew sour by like week 5, obviously, right? And it spiraled from there. It's probably the worst coach team I've seen in a long time. Where do you like? Let's just start this. Where do you sit with the Jets? Because look, I think there's always the same old Jets, and today everyone's doing the same old Jets thing with AVT, and like it's a guy who misses every year, and of course it's still like, oh, it's only happened to the Jets. Rashawn Slater tore his, a patella tendon for the Chargers, who were competing for a Super Bowl 2 weeks ago. No one's saying that. So, but like my whole childhood, the Jets were good, and then the last 15 years they've been atrocious. Everyone's on the same page. So where do you like the high of the Rodgers 9/11 thing to now where it's like they not really in the news, they don't do a lot of media, they have a franchise legend come back, and it's like not a huge story just because they don't do anything? Where do you stand with the Jets in general before we get into like the specifics?
I love the story of Aaron and Aaron meeting in the office, and we've heard about it, and I flew on my own dime in private and all that type of stuff. And the fact that Aaron Glenn sat there, you're starting out, you've never been a head coach before, is a big deal. Like everybody messes it up when they get the Jets job. No one thinks you're going to really have long-term success just because of the history. Like this is big. You may never get another job. And Aaron Rodgers flies there, and for all his faults, he's very captivating. The second he walks in a room, there's kind of this eyeball magnetism factor. And Aaron Glenn just sat down and was like, we're not interested. I'm going to pass. And Aaron Rodgers goes, well, you don't even know me. And Aaron Glenn says, well, you don't know me. Like, that's badass. That's like, I think that's the former player in him. And I don't think that some nerdy coordinator, offensive or defensive, who probably came up in the ranks idolizing Rodgers and thinking he's God's gift to everything, which he was, I don't know if it would have gone that way. I think you could get seduced. Glenn was like, whatever, bro. I've been around this league. I've picked off guys like you. I've done this shit. So, like, the fact that he just stared down Rodgers and said, no, we're moving on, that caught my attention. Like, it really did. And I thought it was a clean cut. And then the fact now that they turn on, like, you asked me where my head is just kind of wrapped around Justin Fields. Like, we got defenders. It's a lot of the same conversation, Will. Like, all the Rodgers stuff was like, well, maybe he's not still Rodgers, but this roster, oh, baby, this roster. So now we're kind of having it with Fields. It's like, we know Fields isn't maybe the best quarterback in the world, but, oh, God, this roster. It feels a little repetitive in that sense.
Yeah. No, I think the hard part is, like, it's just been – and me and Mike G already have this conversation all the time. It's like, if they can only get league average quarterback play, what would happen? And then, like, last year, they kind of sort of got league average quarterback play, and then everyone got hurt on defense. The special teams sucked, and the coaching was bad. So, like, they still kind of finished in the same spot. I think the defense will be better. I think the roster has a lot of good young pieces. They're very top-heavy, though. It's, like, a lot of big names everyone knows, and then below that, like,
no,
it's not great. Like, Garrett Wilson's awesome, but, like, who the fuck's playing wide receiver, too? Or, like,
no.
The offensive line's really good, but half the guys are 22 years old. Or defense, like, Quinn Williams gets hurt, like, you're kind of screwed there. So I guess the Fields thing for me is frustrating because there was a lot of improvement last year in Pittsburgh statistically, right? Like the numbers got better. He was more accurate. He didn't turn the football over. But I don't feel like he ran a lot last year, like really intentionally ran a lot, which he was great at in Chicago. And his teammates love him. He's a great leader. Like, it's impossible to get him to give you anything in a press conference, which is so perfect for like the Parcells, no celebrity quarterbacks. Like, all of it should work. But I think the expectation level has to be like, can he be like the 23rd best quarterback and just be like, hey, you're a solid bridge guy that can come in and spot start and you're fun and like no one expects too much. I just worry it's like if you're expecting this big Baker Mayfield leap in terms of passing specifically, you're just Baker threw for 40 touchdowns last year. Like, can Justin be 3,500 total yards and like 22 touchdowns and 8 picks? Where it's like, wow, he's kind of mistake free. He's mature. He's kind of fun. He can't go against Burrow and Mahomes, but like that's kind of why I feel like the realistic expectation has to be, at least for right now.
I identify with what you're saying. It's kind of like, can we just get a quarterback who can just get it on the fairway? You know, just slap it down the fairway. You know what I mean? Give me like a 205-yard drive, and I'd be thrilled. I would even take 190 dead straight. Just like let us play golf. Yeah, but it's like all right. So I identify a lot as someone who grew up in Chicago because I've said the same type of stuff about the Bears quarterback, especially when like the Urlacher era when like the defense was just so good and. Just like someone who's just decent. Like you said 23rd. I always had the number 18th. I'm like, if I was to power rank my quarterbacks, I would love 18. I don't even need top 15. Just give me a guy. And eventually, Cutler was one of those middle guys and they got to a title game and all that. But here's what I can tell you. Like Jets fans who are just now getting into their relationship with Justin Fields, like what is it going to be like? You're going to constantly talk about him in the same way. And Will, you just read the script. Great guy, really respected teammate, hard worker, and it's always a red flag when the first thing you say about a quarterback is great guy. you know who's a great guy? Like Daniel Jones is a very nice person.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh, the best. And like their coaches are always like, oh, and the facility, they're just I don't give a shit about the facility. How is he on the field? Like the facility is like the 7th or 10th thing that I want to hear. So the Justin Fields thing is like, we'll never complain. I mean, I have memories of his rookie season when Matt Nagy started him against the Myles Garrett Cleveland Browns, and I thought they were going to kill him on the field. I thought he might die, and he doesn't say anything. He'll never so much as like slam a helmet or throw a mouth guard. He is great like that. He just the one problem with him is that he pretty much never wins a game. So that is like a little fly in the ointment. Is that even the biggest Justin Fields apologists who want to say the Bears didn't support him and the Steelers abandoned him and all those things might be true. His record as a starter is deplorable. And that's what you're frustrated about because that's really more important than how he treats the custodian in the facility. Like, I got to have him win some games, okay?
Yeah. No, I think that's the one thing with like, that's to me the difference in Rodgers now versus Rodgers even 3 or 4 years ago, or even, for lack of like Brady, even the last year where it became a distraction. It's like, no one gives a shit when you're winning Super Bowls or MVPs every year. When you like go to your owner's wedding and you lose to Kenny Pickett on the road, or like you're Rodgers and you're losing to everyone last year, it's Anthony Richardson at home in a must-win game. It's like, well, you being an asshole isn't really like acceptable now because you're not actually doing the thing that you're paid to do. I guess we kind of painted like the Fields picture of like realistically where it's going to fall. What's like the best case scenario for them? I feel like to me, it's Glenn's the guy. You feel great going in next year of like, we have our Tomlin, Harbaugh type that's like every year we're going to be 9 to 11 wins regardless of the talent. The defense is good. The young core is good.
Yeah. If
we find the quarterback, like Glenn gets his own guy next year, we're rolling. I feel like it's like an eye test thing. Glenn said it yesterday, and a lot of people gave him pushback, and I'm not really sure why. It's a very honest answer. He's like, dude, I relate to the Jets fans. I relate to like what it's like being in this market. You'll know if it's a successful season or not. Don't you feel like it's an eye test for them more than like they got steamrolled a lot last year?
I know.
And he was like, really? You guys it's pretty soft. Like Deion Dawkins talked a lot of shit and then like kind of laughed in their face and no one did anything about it. That can't happen anymore. And I think that'll be like oh, okay, you have my attention as a tough well-coached team that going forward, like that's not the same old Jets.
First of all, you're encyclopedic about this stuff. I already forgot that
Dan
Rodgers
Dawkins
lost
with
it.
the titties out and
Yeah.
shirtless on the podcast.
No, I can't believe Rodgers lost to Anthony Richardson. Like
He lost to Anthony
I
Richardson,
forgot about that.
Gino, Tua, all these guys. I think they blew 6 fourth-quarter leads. It's the NFL record. It's insane.
See, I'm old enough to remember when Rodgers didn't do it, that Mike McCarthy got fired from the Packers because Rodgers lost to Josh Rosen in Lambeau Field. In the 1 year that Josh Rosen was in the car, they went into Lambeau and won. So, all right, anyways, about how's the best case scenario. There's like 4 or 5 franchises in the league that have I peaked in high school syndrome, where they're just constantly looking back, and all the fans and all the media and everything is just like, man, the good old days. So like the Cowboys are obviously having that now because they're looking at the 90s. My brethren, the Bears fans, like just still some of them won't shut up about the 85 Bears. I find it sad. And when you start asking me about the Jets right now and you can't lay it out, I'm like, kind of sounds like Rex a little bit. Like we got a defensive coach. We have a talented team. We have a quarterback who's limited. We're going to run the ball. And then it's just I'm loath to make the Rex comparison because it's such an eye roller and we're trying to move on from that. But Justin Fields is not going to be Joe Burrow this year. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to morph into that. You're already talking about next year get his quarterback. I'm in the now. Like if here, let me ask you this as a fan.
Yeah.
If I slide across the table to you an offer, I'm going to write it down. And you can agree to it or you can say I don't accept it. All right. Justin Fields starts every game. He's fine. Aaron Glenn goes about his business professionally. There's no scandals. There's no embarrassment. It's a good, tight professional unit who's a few pieces away. And they go 7-10 this year. Are you in?
Probably, because it means like one of the 2 things you need most of the franchise you have, and they have not had a coach since Rex that's been here for longer than like 3 fucking years. So I would take
7-10. You're taking it.
I would take 7-10 if I saw like they were like the Lions of 2021, where it was like,
okay, yes,
like,
good call.
Yeah, they're not that good, but like they beat the shit out of you every week, and like no one wants to play. The Jets are playing New England. I think it's either week 17 or 18. Like I think it's 17. And New England's 9-7, and the Jets are like 6-9, have nothing to play for. It's like, no, you show up in like what Glenn did to Rodgers 3 years ago and ended his Green Bay stint. The Lions had nothing to play for. They knew they were out before that game started.
Yeah,
Rodgers
I remember.
was horrendous, and Glenn was like, yeah. Like the Lions went in there and were like, no, we're going to beat you up. Like that to me would be, if they're 7-10 like that, if they're 7-10 like the Zach Wilson 7-10, I'm not taking that because that was
all
like,
right, well, it's like, how do you want your steak cooked? Let's say you can have 2 choices. The 7-10 is the 7 wins are like sprinkled through the season, like September, October, or you start 2-9, and then you go on a tear, and you finish 5-1 down the stretch, and it's like, oh, the Jets put it together, because that's what you're talking about with the initial Dan Campbell Lions.
Weren't they like 1? Yeah, they were like 1.
They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, they were 1 or 2-9, and then they won 7 or 6 or 7 in a row.
But that's tough to stomach, dude. That's a hard investment. It's hard.
It's like then the stadium's empty at the end of the year, and it's like you're watching like Tank for Arch Manning mixed with like, no, I want win. I kind of want just like normalcy.
Sprinkled.
Yeah, I want like the normalcy of just like, hey, the Jets beat Pittsburgh week 1, they lose to Buffalo week 2, they lose to Tampa week 3, they beat Miami week, and it's like they're kind of meandering along, but like they're getting better.
You're such at the place. It's so relatable that there's most fans are like, just give me a goddamn decent product. Like, I know I don't expect you to win every game, but I want to turn on. I want it to be competitive. And if you don't win at the end, you lose on a field goal. I'm not going to hold it against you. Yeah. There's the 1%ers, like the Chiefs fans and Eagles fans, like they're the billionaires. And then there's just like the complete losers who are just like, oh man, anything, end my life. But most fans are just like, can we be competitive? That word. I'm not asking for the world. I just want a decent team. And I think you guys are there.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of in the like, I'm good being like $100K a year, 5 days a week in the office, and like you work 9 to 5. Would I love to be like the sales guy that works like 80 hours, but hey, like they're making a couple $1 million? Yeah, sure. But like I'm kind of over like the hourly, like, I mean, who knows what's going to happen. I want to talk about week 1. Obviously, we're a
Okay.
couple days out.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fun matchup. It's kind of boring, but it's like old school football. I
I
feel
like it a lot.
AFC North-ish, like both teams want to run the ball. Arthur Smith's like old school under center, 12 personnel. Glenn kind of wants to be that as well. Rodgers, I don't really understand the Rodgers Arthur Smith thing.
No one does.
They run totally opposite schemes. Like it doesn't make Rodgers refused to go under center last year. Everything's out of pistol. Everything's like one back to spread out, no motion. Like let me make the plays. And Arthur Smith's like, here's 1,000 tight ends. We're gonna run a million things of motion, screens. You're gonna go under center. I don't get that, and I don't really understand like Hayward, Watt, Ramsey, Slay. Sounds really cool in 2017, and maybe they're still all really good. Cam Hayward doesn't practice all year. Jalen Ramsey looked terrible last year. What am I missing with the Steelers, I guess, just going in this game of like, they're really fun. They're great in Madden, but are they actually going to be good in a division of like Lamar, Burrow? I don't know if they – it just kind of feels like a weird match of all these different personalities with Tomlin.
They always matter. They always find a way. And everything you said is –
They're the definition of normalcy. Every game.
Working class. Like it's just that it's we go. We will never ever give you a 4-13 season. It won't happen. They have a different frustration, which is just like it's always pretty good every year. But everything you're saying is spot on. Like you get these rehashes and retreads, including Rodgers himself, and the way you lay it out about okay, the coordinator has his way of doing this, and Rodgers is the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him. This is combustible as hell. Like this is going to blow up by week 5. I just think that Rodgers is like at the altar of Tomlin. I think he is fully man crushed on him. I think they are kind of obsessed with each other and have been for a lot of years. And I just like, I asked Rodgers, I got to sit with him at training camp and I was just like, why are you here? Like, why? I said, I'm like, I was ready for you to just hang it up after the Jets. You started every game. You didn't embarrass yourself. You were fine. You made some big throws, whatever. You're an older guy. I feel like I've seen enough of you. Due respect. Like I'm a huge fan of yours. I was ready to stop watching you. And we have that dynamic where he wasn't like insulted by that. And he said, I understand. He's like, I had conversations with Tomlin and I wanted to keep playing and I wanted to play a Steeler. And I think it's so strange the way it's going though, especially contrasted to you guys, where he comes in like some 5-star recruit and they put his name in the locker and they announce him coming onto the field. He's like, okay, here we go. Get out a pen and paper, write this down. I want my own offensive coordinator. I want him brought in. I want all my old buddies. Freaking Randall Cobb's going to be the Jets. Alan Lazard's going to be I want all the bros. They got none of that in Pittsburgh. He has no bros there. I'm watching him at training camp. He's like mostly by himself. So he walks around by himself. He hangs with the other quarterbacks, but they're like basically babies, most of them. He doesn't like, he's just kind of on his own against guys who are like 18, 19, 20 years younger than him. And I'm sure they bond between scenes, but he doesn't have like the guy that, remember when we were in Green Bay? They did none of that. Not even up in the booth where he usually power broke. So he's just like, I'm just here to play for Mike. And I find that very encouraging about him. I think it's different.
Yeah, I think that like I don't think it's going to be bad. I just think that there's this weird expectation that like feel like a lot of Steelers fans are doing what me and millions of other people did the last 2 years, where it's like, no, it was just a pinky, or it was just a rib injury against the Giants, and like it was just really cold against the Lions when they need to win, or like you kind of just talk yourself into like I think he'll be better. You've torn your Achilles, unfortunately. Like yeah, a year removed now, like you're more comfortable and stuff like that. But at the same time, like it's always gonna be in the back of his head. I feel like of like I will say this. Week 1 is going to be a big test. He did not play in the preseason, was not there all spring, obviously. I'm not begrudging. I know he had this personal stuff going on. But, like, he hasn't been hit in 9 months and doesn't really want to get hit anymore. And I don't blame him. I don't.
Sure.
Like I'm 31 now. Like, I'm maybe like, in my head, I'm sure I'd love to, like, put on pads again. Like,
I don't think so.
I couldn't do it anymore. So, like, I think this game's going to be very much, like, the first 10 minutes of this game are the Jets in Rodgers' face. Because we saw it last year. when he has time, he can still pick you apart at times. We saw against the Patriots, Jags, like he still has that in his bag. We also saw against San Francisco, he got hit on the first drive and it was over. Like his head was down the entire rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the key for the Jets of like, don't turn it over and just hit Rodgers a lot? I don't know. I think that's kind of what it boils down to.
It definitely does. And to me, like it boils down to, we have 2 games that night. There is the football game and then there's the post game. I'm all over that because every single camera is going to be on Rodgers, and he knows all those Jets and all the guys and Sauce and Quinn and all. Like he's going to come out and hug them and talk to them. Like I think the Aaron Glenn thing was serious, and I think like I want to follow to see if there's a handshake, if there's a conversation. Listen, you know this. If Rodgers starts cooking in this game, if that happens, like there'll be looks over to the Jets sideline. All of that stuff is loaded. Like he's still like a mean old bastard. I really do mean that in the best possible way. Like he is a football asshole. Like he's like maybe the closest thing we've seen to Kobe in this generation on the football field. Like he's like a maniac in the best possible way. So, I got to ask him. I'm like, all right, so let's have a laugh. I'm like, dude, I laughed out loud when I saw the Steelers schedule and the schedule makers have 0 chill. And your first game as a Steeler is at what you used to call Jet Life Stadium. What was your reaction when you saw it? He's like, I mean, of course. Like, it's to be expected, and it'll be a good contest, and it'll be good to see some of those guys, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's out for blood. Personally, I can't wait for the post game. But to your point, I mean, they should actually attack the shit out of him. Like, you know that they will. And if he doesn't want to get hit, then prove that you guys are right.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Like, Glenn has done a really good job. He's not on our team anymore. I don't talk about guys not on our team. He's done the whole Parcells, Belichick, Sean Payton thing where it's like, I'm not saying a goddamn word. But I have to imagine, like, Glenn getting flamed on Pat McAfee as, like, that coach and, like, not even by name, a guy who's, like, a Pro Bowler in the league. Like, there's no way Glenn has not been, like, barely sleeping. Like, I refuse to believe that pregame speech, whatever he gives in the locker room, is not going to be like borderline anger, tears coming out. Like, right? There's no way he's not.
That's a great point. It's a great point because I'm making it all about Rodgers and you're talking about Glenn. I look at that opening slate.
4-2, and the Steelers were like, "We're good, man. Like, old Russ is better than you." Like, that sucks.
That does suck. I mean, that was the strangest season ever for him. He's like, I never win. I'm winning now, and you're going to pull me out. I was thinking about on the opening slate. You know, we ask all these questions all the time on Good Morning Football, like, which team needs to win the most? I think we're back to our 2 hometowns. I look at the Jets at home against that guy and with this backstory and a new coach. Like, I think you really need to win that game. But then I also look at, like, all right, so the Bears are Monday night at home at Soldier Field in the first game of the Ben Johnson era against the Vikings without Jordan Addison and against a quarterback that's from Caleb's draft class and who is a total neophyte, has never done anything. If you lose that game as a Bears fan, you're like, oh my God, we can't 0-1 now. It would be a tough loss for the Jets. You guys should win that game. The Steelers aren't cracked up to be anything super this year.
No, I just think that it buys you so much equity too that, like, you've got Buffalo coming in week 2. They always play Buffalo really tough, but, like, I don't know. It's really hard to see. Buffalo's really weird early. They either get out really hot or they kind of struggle a little bit. And then they, like, week 6, they win 10 in a row and go into Kansas City where they'll eventually lose. So, like, I don't know. I think you got to find a way to split the first 2. Like, Pittsburgh and Buffalo are 2 of your harder games brand wise on paper. Can you split those? And it's like, okay, now we're not, because then it's 2 Florida teams. Tampa might not have worse and Godwin. And it's like, I don't know. They're very confusing. I think everyone's in love with Tampa, and I like them, but I don't know. Like, they win 9 games every year, and it's like, they're like, Mike Evans is going to get 1,000 yards and it's going to be really cool. And I don't know. I just kind of look at their schedule. It's like everyone worries about the back half of the year. They have Dallas week 5 now. No Micah Parsons. Like, sorry, that game again, Brian Schottenheimer on the road. You should win that game. Like, you just should. Dallas is coming here. I don't know. It's just a weird season where it's like, I don't know what they're really going to look like, because we saw in the preseason, they go into Green Bay and it's like, dude, if they look like this for 4 quarters, they're going to be such a fun team to watch. And then week 2, like, they barely play the starters and they look like shit. So I have no idea what I'm supposed to expect week to week at this point.
Is that is that running back of yours going to do something this year?
Brees?
Like,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
come on. What's the state of the nation on Brees? Because you're like, we got Fields. He's not going to be throwing for $5,000. We need Brees to have a big like, isn't it like, Jesus, should have get off the pot, man?
Yeah, the Brees thing's weird because they said the 3-back thing. Like Glenn mentioned, like for the first time he spoke publicly post getting hired as the owners meeting, he was like, "Yeah, we have a stable of backs." Like didn't name Brees at all. Like it was really odd.
Yeah.
The guys are going to get traded, and then like 2 weeks ago or last week, he's like, "I'm not trading Brees," and it was like,
why not?
yeah, like what's going on here? I think they're going to use him as a pass catcher a lot. Braylon Allen, I think, is going to be like the fun. Looks like a superhuman.
Yeah.
No one should look like that at running back. He looks like that, and he knocked somebody out cold like the first week of the preseason. You're like, oh, great, this is awesome. I also worry a little bit of like Brees usually has gotten hurt. Braylon Allen gets banged up. Like Fields gets banged up. It's one of those. It's just gonna be a war of attrition. Like I said, they're gonna be so physical that you always worry. Like it's the heavyweight UFC fighter. It's like Eric Lewis is in there. It's like, dude, you've been getting punched in the head for 8 straight minutes. Like I know you're not down, but there's no way you feel good right now. But yeah, I think this is a big Brees year. Like Garrett's a top 10 highest paid receiver. Like,
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, like that's 111.
Well, you just got me thinking about the AFC East and Garrett Wilson and how he plays against them. Let me give you an impromptu pop quiz. Okay,
let's do it.
I want you to rank in order of it's okay with me at number 1 to fuck that. One of the 3 other AFC East teams wins the Super Bowl this year. How would you rank them?
So I have a different answer than most Jets. Most Jets fans would say Patriots in the absolute fuck that category, then Miami, then Buffalo. Like a lot of Jets fans look at Buffalo as like, we're kind of the same. We're like kind of like ugly stepchildren that like.
Yeah. And Josh Allen's very likable.
Yeah, Josh Allen's likable. And like the 90s Dolphins Jets thing was crazy. And Patriots are the Patriots.
But you're not.
I would go in the direct opposite. Bills fans and me have had a rough couple of years in terms of I just get into it with them. I don't know why. They're really good. I just want to see them actually win a Super Bowl before I crown one. Miami fans, Miami to me, like the rivalry is just not as fun right now. I don't know why. It's kind of it's just weird. It's like it's not. And then the Patriots thing.
Get another one with a new quarterback? That'd be crazy.
I would go Bills in the fuck that category, then New England, then Miami, which is a very. I think it's probably the most unique of the like. Most people again would go Patriots, Dolphins.
That's great.
I don't know. The Patriots thing's weird. They kind of feel like them and Miami and the Jets are all in the same. We're all kind of the same. Like you could see the path to 9 or 10 wins. Could also see you just not being very good. And I just find it interesting how Vrabel's covered versus Aaron Glenn. It's like, how dare Aaron Glenn like talk to the media that way? It's like Vrabel's calling the media rats in a post-game presser in week 2 of the preseason because his guy went on IR that he probably leaked. So I don't know. The Patriots thing's a little.
Well, Mike Vrabel had the Ryan Tannehill Titans as the 1 seed in the AFC. He's done some shit, man. Just ask him; he'll tell you.
I know it's a weird. How do you think the division plays out? Like I know Buffalo to me. I know you were just out with Josh yesterday, and it was honestly a really good interview. Like whether you like the Bills, or not, it was. It feels like it's how many wins for the Bills, not if they win the division, and then it kind of just feels like everybody else is fighting for like, can you be the 6 or the 7 seed? The Bills should cakewalk realistically, unless they don't look quite as good as everyone thinks they do.
Well, the haters' guide to the Bills is haven't really
Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but even before they get there, like, haven't really added a whole bunch, and they added now Jordan Poyer and Gabe Davis, and it's like, all right, like, I guess we're getting the band. Is this like for a reunion or like a football game? Like, what we got to add some firepower here. I like those guys. That's the worry, is that it's like it's Josh Allen and Friends featuring Josh Allen, and it's like we've kind of seen that movie before. I don't know though. It's like I just the Ravens and the Bills to me and Lamar and Josh they're just clones. It's dueling Spider-Man meme. It's like Josh and Lamar so well liked, so popular, so fun to watch. Both MVPs, both same exact story, and it's like, is one of you going to break through? It's probably not going to be both of you. I don't think both of you are getting a Super Bowl. So is it one of you? Is it neither of you? It's just those are 2 teams where I'm like, I don't have a lot to talk about with you for like another 4 months. I'll just see you then. You take care of your stuff and you stay healthy. But there's more interest. They're not that interesting right now just because they're so good. And I just want to know how it ends.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed it's such an early matchup. I really wish we got that like week 14 where it's like who's going to be the one seed, and like it feels like playoff football. It's like crappy weather. Now it's just kind of like, dude, whoever wins is just going to talk shit to the other fan base for the next 17 weeks until they play again. And like, I don't know. I guess last two things here.
Yeah.
One, who's a team in each conference that you're either higher or lower on than like the consensus? For me, like I'm picking the Rams to win the Super Bowl as long as Matt Stafford plays. They added a lot. They should have beaten Philly last year, and like I don't think anybody in the AFC can beat them when they're right. And then personally, like I'm just not. I think Miami might be the worst team in the league by the season's end, and I think it's going to be like a Tua got hurt again, McDaniel, everyone gets fired, and it's like Tyreek's complaining by week 6. They might be fine. There is a real path where it gets. We talked about the combustibility of the Steelers. They already like talked about how much they all hate Tyreek publicly, and that's never a good sign. So yeah, I would say I'm lower on the Dolphins and higher on the Rams. Where do you sit of like teams are either lower or higher on than everybody else?
Well, first of all, I have a rule now. I every single year when I do playoff picks, I pick the Rams because I think my take is it's so easy. I think Sean McVay is the number one coach in the league. I think number one in just what he's accomplished, how fast his team's always good. That Eagles team, like we may look back at that as the best team in the 21st century. And the Rams were one play from beating them in the snow in Philadelphia. And I just think that was just McVay just coaching his ass off. So I have, on my hot take on the Rams, if it was announced today that Matthew Stafford has back surgery and is out for the season, I would pick them to get a wild card with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's how much I believe in Sean McVay and the Rams. But that's not my answer. You already had the Rams. A guy that you like and a guy that you have a lot of attachment to, I think is going to have another really impressive season. I like the Seahawks this year.
Yeah,
I do. They're the quietest 10-win team from last year. 10 wins, and no one cares, no one remembers. And then they proceed to get rid of their quarterback, get rid of their most famous high-profile player in DK Metcalf, bring in Sam Darnold, who like people still have a lot of questions about, and I picked them to win the NFC West outright. I think they play defense and run, and no one really gets excited about them except me. I like the Seahawks this year.
Yeah, I do too. They're really well coached. I actually like them a lot. Like, if you make Derek Carr look good, like you deserve the promotion in New Orleans. So, and I'm always going to be a Sam defender. It's just funny to me. Like, I know he didn't have a great end of the year. So dude threw for like 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. I understand Kevin O'Connell's great, and I'm not poo-pooing that at all. But like Sam also was really good for the first 15 weeks. Like I feel like we just do the classic, like he sucked against the Rams. Well, like, I don't know. LA was burning to the ground. There was a whole like weird thing that happened right before that.
It was the fires was the reason he wasn't finishing his throws.
Anything but Sam. That's
wow. You go way back with Sam, though. I mean, I remember you talking about Sam when he was in college. And how bad you wanted him.
It was horrible. It was like, I can't believe this is happening. And then, like, first game was amazing. They're doing the Jets chants in Detroit. They destroy the Lions. Stafford was horrible in that game. And then it was like, they come back and
I remember
they lose to Tannehill. And it was like, oh, man, this might already be over.
I remember all of that. I remember texting about it and all of that. I think he's gonna have another season, and then at the end of the year, the Seahawks will be like, I don't know, what should we do with Darnold? Like that's just how it's gonna be. My AFC team, I said I ride with head coaches. I listen. That as odd as he might be, and as problematic as he might be in other sections of life, if Jim Harbaugh is coaching a football game, I'm betting on him to win it. And you got to come up with something better than me to talk against the Chargers. Then they lost their offensive tackle. I know that Slater's a really good player, but guys, they lost a lineman. A lot of teams are going to lose a lot of players. They just did it before the season. I always will have the Chargers in as a wild card. It was like the strangest, bizarre M. Night Shyamalan ending to the season last year when Justin Herbert is like a perfect thrower of the football and then throws like 70 interceptions in one game against the Texans. I still think it's the Chargers in a wild card. I like San Diego. I want to call them San Diego. I like the LA Chargers.
I like the Chargers a lot. I picked them to be a playoff team. I'm actually lower on Denver also. I think they're going to be good, but I think it'll be like, I think the Raiders and Chargers are just really well coached. I like their quarterbacks. I like their roster. I like the Ewing theory. There's my Ewing theory with the Jets. Hear me out. To give a Bill Simmons thing here. The whole Rodgers thing, they handled it well. They cut bait. They get out from under that. They try to do like the grown-up move. They bring Glenn back, who like probably should have been hired 2 years ago, but like finally gets his head coaching job. They lose AVT already. It's like, oh my God, here we go, all the bad omens. And it's like, does it finally kind of happen for them in the opposite way? Like, weird example, 98. They're not going to be the 98 Jets. Like, the 98 Jets were a 2 seed. They're not going to happen. But Marvin Jones, who is all-pro linebacker, gets hurt before the year, misses the whole year. Here we go again, same old Jets. Like, then they end up Glenn Foley lose week 1, and then it's like Vinny comes in and they were amazing. I'm not saying that it's going to be that, but like, don't you almost feel like these things kind of work in weird ways of the way the NFL works? It's just like you think something bad happens, all of a sudden we get a great story out of it. Is there any validity of that could happen, where it's like such bad mojo for so long that like weirdly something bad happened triggers something good?
Well, I think it's interesting to that point. I think it's interesting that you're excited about the Raiders this year, because the Jets and Raiders are just like, they're just two organizations people look at and they're like, ugh. I mean, like the brand is bad, and you just see the logo and you just don't trust it because there's just been so much bad football. So I think it's interesting that you like them, because a lot of people listen. I didn't put them in the playoffs, the Raiders. I like a lot of what they have going on, but you kind of just revert back to that. Yeah, but it's the Raiders. So as a Jets fan, do you identify with the Raiders like that?
Course. But I also feel like, so I do, but I feel like they did things the right way. They were like, this isn't working. We need someone to come in and like stop making us a joke.
Be an adult.
Yeah, we wanted an adult in the room. We went to the Bucs, who have one of the best front offices. We're taking your number 2 guy. We went to Pete Carroll, who like more teams should have been in on Pete Carroll. Don't understand it. Never will. He's 70 going on 30. And they're like, Gino's just an adult this time. He's the 13th best quarterback in the league.
Yep.
He's an adult. Jack Besher's an adult. Bauer. Like, I don't know. They just, something about them felt like, oh, they were a bunch of like motivated adults in the room that don't really care that they're in Vegas and don't care about Al Davis and stuff. I don't know.
Did the Jets have adults? Like, I think Aaron Glenn is an adult, but he's
my
not
other
proven.
Ewing theory. Sauce got dumped by Ice Spice, so maybe that's the Ewing theory of. Now we found. I think Garrett and Quinn and some of these guys, they're the youngest team in the league, like per age and stuff like that. But I think the staff's a lot of adults. Weirdly, a lot of former players. Obviously, Glenn, like Dre Bly, Aaron Curry. There's a lot of Sean Jeffrey. There's a lot of weird like former player like
the Lions had a lot of former players.
It's just like, we're gonna beat the shit out of each other all summer. We're gonna hit, and then like week 1 comes and like we're a little worn down, but like we're ready to fight, as opposed to like Cam Hayward has not practiced yet. Like Rodgers did not practice. I don't know. Something
I know
off about it. Last thing here, because we talked a lot about a lot of different things. Done a lot of rewatchables recently, and I liked you and Simmons did a great episode, obviously doing kind of the 90s movies. To movie everyone here should go watch. And have you seen the show The Pit?
I've not seen The Pit. No.
Do you like shows that like you kind of want to cry, but like are like unbelievable acting, great storyline?
Yeah, I like everything, man. I like everything.
I would. Next time you've got downtime, which is
why? Sell me on The Pit. Why?
It's 1 day in the emergency room, 1 season, 15 episodes, 1 day. Every hour is a show. Every hour is an episode. The acting's insane. It takes place in like inner city Pittsburgh. You're so overwhelmed with like all the shit that's going on in the hospital at one time, and it's like very graphic, but like not necessarily in a bad way. It's like trying to show you like how insane these people's jobs are.
Will you understand this? That like the first, second, and third question I have about this is will my wife like it? Because otherwise I'm watching it on my phone on the toilet.
But you do see a live birth, which is a little tough.
I don't care about that. That's fine.
There was like a kid drowns, and it's like really, but it's like they capture your emotions so well, and it's like all the storylines around it. Jamie's obsessed with it. So
all right. Yeah. Well, if there's any, my wife watches like 99% home renovation shows. So if they decide at some point the hospital needs an open floor plan and a load bearing wall, like then she'll really be in on that.
Oh man!
All right, I watched The Pit. I'm looking for a show. I need like a drug that's not football during football season. So I will watch The Pit.
1 season, you're in and out. HBO. Okay. Great. So, it's good. I'm almost all the way through. It's kind of like it's definitely captivating. It's like that. You like turn on the U.S. Open and football and in a Yankees
Awesome.
game. You're like, what just went from someone getting like watching open heart surgery to
Right.
to watching Aaron Boone manage a game. Talk about the stuff you did. I know you did the stuff with Vice coming out. I think it's tonight.
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about that and just kind of what you guys have. You got a lot going on right now.
If you guys like the Will Pod, you really like football, and you will like the show. I'm doing a show called NFL Classics After Further Review, and imagine the Manning cast, but it's not the Manning cast. It's all-time classic games watched with the people who played in them. So we went back and we watched the Bears-Cardinals, Bears are who we thought they were game, with Brian Urlacher. And we watched it with Sebastian Maniscalco, who's from Chicago. We watched the 95 Cowboys-Packers title game with Emmett and Irvin, on and on and on. And we watched the can't wait Bart Scott game, Jets at Patriots. I watched it with Bart Scott and I watched it with Method Man. And you don't just run the highlights and like talk over we watched the game and like sit there and break tape. It's an hour-long show and the guys just talk and there's memories. And I got to tell you, like, I thought I had a very good memory of that game. And goddamn, you just forget so many things that happen. Like, Jets fans will remember better than I do. Right off the bat, the number one storyline that CBS leads with coming into the game is Wes Welker's press conference about Rex's foot fetish. And he was sat down for the beginning of the game. Belichick sat Wes Welker at a time when, like, they didn't have a lot of great receivers. This is not Randy. This is like young Hernandez and Gronk. Like, they needed Welker, and they sat him because he referenced the foot fetish. And Belichick's like, the reason I did it is because it was about Rex's family and it was over the line. So you got Jim Nance starting talking about a video featuring an alleged Rex Ryan. That starts. And then from the beginning, like, the Jets just kind of whipped their ass. And you know what my favorite part about it is, Will? Mark Sanchez is nails in this game. Nails. And if you're a Gen Zer, you think, oh, Mark Sanchez, isn't he about running into butts and eating hot dogs? You're ignorant. Go back and watch. He won 4 road playoff games to start his career. He beat Peyton. He beat Brady. Like, it was a really cool thing. And I watched this game being proud of Mark Sanchez. I was.
There was a point where his first 2 years, he almost ran a gauntlet. If they win in 2010 against, obviously they would have had to beat Pittsburgh and Green Bay. There was a point there where he was going to run the gauntlet of Peyton on the road, Brady on the road, Big Ben on the road, Rodgers in the Super Bowl. Like,
yes.
And I don't know, the David Harris interception right off the bat.
Oh my God.
Like a screen interception.
The David Harris interception. All right, here, I'm going to test you. It's a ridiculous answer. So he gets the pick. It should be a walk-in pick six, even though it's long. He does get run down at like the 10-yard.
Watson.
It's not Benjamin Watson. It should
Algie
be.
Crumpler.
Algie Crumpler. Like one of the biggest tight ends ever of that era runs him down. Not even Falcons Algie Crumpler. Like Patriots Algie Crumpler. And you should see in the episode, like, Bart is killing him and Method Man is dropping bars about getting caught by Algie Crumpler. It's so fun, man. You'll love it.
Algie Crumpler falling on David Harris. David Harris, unbelievable player, like had a piano on his back from like year 2 on. So
yes.
No, that's the infamous Rex running. Fat Rex runs down the sideline. Sean Green does the go to sleep.
All of that. You got to watch it. It's the premiere. It's tonight. I don't know when this podcast is debuting, but it's Wednesday nights, 9:00 on Vice TV. We get unfettered access to the NFL Films library, which is very rare. They're very protective about that. And they just said, take everything. And we took it and ran. You guys will like the show. I'm pretty proud of it.
Do you ever get tired of like having any places you need to like put on your resume of like places you're working or doing? Like, do you ever get tired mentally of like, how do I even keep up with this?
That is called a champagne problem, Will. If I have so many jobs that it's hard to keep up with, I should be so fucking lucky. And I'm very, very blessed because there was a time when I didn't have squat. And I just hope the jobs keep coming. I thought you were going to say, do you ever get tired of football?
No.
Yeah, I do.
We all reached that point at one point this year when it's like week 13 and then we're like, who's going to have the number 1 pick? And it's like, dude, oh my God, it's Halloween.
I know.
What are we doing here?
I know.
KB, appreciate you hopping on. I'll be back tomorrow. Robert Mays will be on, so we'll do a lot of fun, like what happens now with Joe Tippmann at right guard, and then Mays will dive right in. But appreciate you hopping on, and we'll talk soon. Make sure you guys check out Vice Sports tonight, 9 o'clock. And then Good Morning Football, obviously, Monday through Friday. Appreciate it for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon.